late Judge A. Leon Higginbotham Jr. was a pioneering judge, activist, scholar, historian, and presidential advisor. Throughout his career as the youngest and first Black district attorney for the city of Philadelphia and a founding partner in the city's first Black law firm, Norris, Schmidt, Green, Harris, and Higginbotham, and in 3 decades on the federal bench, Judge Higginbotham fought institutionalized racism in the legal system and was a lifelong champion for equal and civil rights. He wrote more than 650 legal opinions, contributed to more than 100 publications as a historian, and was a valued colleague, teacher, mentor, and friend to so many in our community. Judge Higginbotham was nominated by then-President Lyndon B. Johnson to serve on the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania in 1964. He was appointed to the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit by President Jimmy Carter in 1977, where he served for 16 years, including 2 years as Chief Judge. After retiring from the court in 1993, Judge Higginbotham was a professor of jurisprudence at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1995 and the NAACP Spingarn Medal in 1996. We are thrilled to have here tonight my good friend, Pennsylvania Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton, to deliver this year's Higginbotham Lecture and discuss why the judge and what he stood for in his life and in his career was such an important source of inspiration to her. She is a shining example of Judge Higginbotham's legacy. Now, Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton.
Thank you so much for having me here today. Can we give another congratulations to Danny? I think I can speak for all of us when I can say we were at the edge of our seats waiting to hear what the justice said. But it's okay. We have her quotes all over the place, so it's very important that she spoke to you, and it's very important what you mean to the legal community. And I'm so grateful for all of the distinguished women who are here, starting with our awesome chancellor, with Pennsylvania's Supreme Court Chief Justice, and to every one of the presiding officials, my congresswoman and a big portion of the district I'm blessed to serve, and to all of our fellow lawyers. And where are the law students? That's my one question. And then I'll start reading. Raise your hand, law students. Don't worry, I have no questions for you. This is not the Socratic method. I have taught part-time at Temple for 5 years, but it was trial advocacy, so don't worry, I'm not calling on you. I'm so very honored to be here today and talk briefly about how Judge Leon Higginbotham has inspired some of the work that I get to do every day and be on this trailblazing historical path of leadership. Judge Higginbotham left his mark on history, on the community, and in our entire country as the original trailblazer. Obviously, he was a very talented attorney, outstanding jurist, and it would be easy to fill this time I have allotted to highlight all of Judge Higginbotham's achievements and his personal qualities that set him apart. There are so many lessons from his life, from his career, and his character that I aim to emulate every single day in my own journey. There are lessons that many people, no matter the profession, the background, or the goals, can apply to make each and every one of us more empathetic, more humble, and more supportive leaders. I'm going to take a few moments today to look at some of the broader and larger themes from Judge Higginbotham's career and talk about how they've influenced my own values and work. Throughout his life, Judge Higginbotham was, in fact, a pioneer, often the first African American to accomplish something, the first Black student to be put on the academic track at his segregated school in Trenton, New Jersey, Among the only Black students enrolled at Purdue University in 1944, the first Black attorney to argue on behalf of the Commonwealth before the Court of Common Pleas and the Superior Court, the first African American to serve on a federally regulated commission on the Federal Trade Commission, among so many others. He managed each of these firsts with grace, with respect, no matter the obstacles that were right in front of his face. In my career, I've often been the first, and on many times have found myself the only person in a room that looks like me. I'm the first woman to be a floor leader in the nation's oldest continuous legislative body, the first woman to be at the budget table negotiating billions of dollars of spend, the first woman and the first person of color to be on the Legislative Reapportionment Commission, the first woman to be Speaker of the House. Thank you. And I can say in this moment, no one's more proud than my first boss. I just spotted her. Wave your hand, Judy Berkman. That first summer out of law school. It was not what you see today. But Judy was very patient with me. Summer of '04. Did you know that, Judy? It's been 20 years. That's not in my notes. But seriously, when you talk about the first, it's not easy to be the first. It is not easy. But I try to carry myself with the confidence, with the respect, and with the grace that Judge Higginbotham epitomized. Judge Higginbotham used his lived experience to inform his work as a practitioner, as a jurist, as a scholar, as a civil rights advocate. He used the racism he endured at Purdue, where Black students were regularly sent to dorms that had no heat during the winter, when he was barred and staying in a hotel with his debate team classmates, as the motivation to change his degree from engineering to pursuing a career in law, because he lived and felt unjust experiences. His racism that he endured in changing his major to study law ended up changing the course of history as we know it. He established a precedent in his Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Local 542, International Union of the Operating Engineers, decision in 1974 for why a minority judge should not need to rescue themselves from a case simply because they were a part of a minority group. This decision has been cited repeatedly to allow qualified judges to hear cases where a party would like them to recuse themselves based on their race or ethnicity. He used his experience growing up in the Jim Crow era and the economic challenges his family endured and the inequitable treatment that he saw every day when he became an advisor to South Africa and its transition to democratic elections and the formation of its constitution, helping to spark new opportunities for citizens in this entire country. I try to use my lived experiences every day to inform my own work and encourage others to do it, whether they're an elected official, a community advocate, or any other profession, because each one of our unique experiences is in fact valuable. I started my career at the Defender Association of Philadelphia, where I was blessed and excited to work every day serving and speaking on behalf of my clients not too far from here. It was those experiences of my clients that I got to see firsthand, the experience in my own life compared to many others who needed such serious help. People who found themselves not only accused, but also living in deep poverty. It was those experiences that I got to see that more inequities existed than I ever knew. I thought I knew what it meant to have it hard, to have it tough, growing up in a single-parent home in Southwest Philadelphia. But it was those experiences that I got to see in our own judicial system and our own educational system, how it was failing people every single day, putting them very hastily in a pipeline to prison. I wanted to find a place where I could figure out solutions to these problems that many people have worked on for years. And I continue to use that lived experience as a public defender to inform my work every day because, oddly enough, although I left the office 10 years ago, the problems continue to persist. Education, housing, justice reform, economic development. I translate my experience along with my neighbors into public policy that we all aim in Harrisburg to improve their lives. When we think about the breadth of the work of Judge Higginbotham, he was accomplished in so many professions. When I have the opportunity to meet with students, now I emphasize that there's not one single path because people think you need to know what you want to do when you grow up. For me as a young child, it was a lawyer, a hairdresser, a preacher, and an actress. It's not funny. Those were my dreams. But it's knowing that each and every one of us is able to write our own story. Judge Higginbotham wasn't just a talented attorney. He was a judge, a professor, an advisor to presidents, a writer, a mentor, and he made a significant impact in every one of his professions. I today can say that my work as a lawyer, now as a lawmaker, as a minister at my church in West Philadelphia, as a community neighbor, it informs my everyday work, but most importantly, I can see that we don't have to have only one path, and we can actually wear more than one hat. Finally, Judge Higginbotham was known by those who knew him best to be a servant leader. He was a mentor who created opportunities for generations of Black lawyers to follow, people like myself. I think that is his greatest contribution. While it's so important to achieve the first and to break new ground, it's so more important, much more important, to hold the door open for all of those who want to follow. I would not be able to do what I'm doing unless it would be like Crystal Byrd Fawcett, the first African-American woman elected to the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in 1938, or Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American woman to go to the United States House of Representatives, or Speaker K. Leroy Irvis, another talented lawyer in Pennsylvania who was the first African-American Speaker of the Pennsylvania House, and of course, Judge Leon Higginbotham. As leaders, we have a responsibility. Danny said it best. There are folks who need us to make an impact beyond ourselves. We have to recognize that we must widen the path. We have to take time, even though we're all busy, to mentor, to open up doors for future leaders. Throughout all of Judge Higginbotham's life accomplishments, he was able to do that. When we look back on his legacy, standing at 6'5", Judge Higginbotham was literally a giant, physically towering over people, but he was also intellectually a giant. He was a legal scholar. He was driven by purpose. He was not driven by the limelight. And I don't know if Judge Higginbotham had a plan to contribute to and advance opportunities for so many here in this day and in this Commonwealth and in our nation and around the world. But I'm so very grateful for a few minutes this afternoon to reflect on his work and recognize that the effects are still being seen and felt today and will continue to be felt for generations to come. Thank you.